Hello there. How you doing? Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whenever you're watching this on replay. My name is Richard Talbot. I'm a leadership coach, trainer, and public speaker affiliated with the John Maxwell team, and I'm glad to have you here with me today. It's a beautiful day out in my private lair somewhere on the east coast of the United States. It is in a state they call themselves the Tar Heels, and it's good to be with you today. Beautiful sunny skies. Pretty warm, I'd say in the 50s, and not much of a breeze, just a beautiful day out today, and I hope your day is doing well as this day is here. Started my blab on the usual time, and I had trouble with it, so we get this blab, and I finally got it up and running, so starting a little late, but you know, that's okay. Hopefully we'll take some time to learn. This is part of the leadership series that I'm doing on a weekly basis here on Fridays, entitled Leadership Is. It's based on the book, The 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership by John Maxwell. Here you see it. I'll put it in front of my face because frankly it's better looking than I am. And we're going to talk today about how to gain respect in leadership, because we're talking about as leaders, and we're talking here as a positive sense, we're talking about leadership in how do you develop it, how do you grow it, how do you encourage it in others, and not only move into success in your business, but also move in success in your life, and ultimately into significance. Because to me, there's a difference between life and significance, success, I should say, and significance. We all measure success in different ways. You can measure it in income, in fame, reputation. There's a lot of different ways that you can measure success. However, significance moves beyond that, in my opinion. I believe that significance is where you are impacting others for positive. You don't necessarily, you can be successful and not significant. You can be significant and not successful. But I think we all desire both success in our personal and business life, professional life, and also being significant. As you've watched previous blabs that I've done, you know that I am a coffeeholic, so I have my trusty mug here with me. It's not that I'm addicted to coffee. I just choose never to give it up. I enjoy it way too much. So I'm going to have my coffee, and today we're going to talk about the law of respect. Respect. Good coffee. So wherever you are watching this, whether it's where it's cold, where it's warm, where it's perfect like today is here, whatever it is, I hope you have your favorite beverage with you. You maybe want to take notes, because I do like to ask questions and give you homework assignments, and we move forward together on what is how to gain respect in leadership. I think you can measure respect in leadership, and the way you can measure that is people naturally follow leaders who are stronger than themselves. Think about that for a second. Think about who you follow. And I think we all follow somebody. We may not call them, you know, we may not say we quote follow them. We may say we're being mentored by them, being coached by them, they're consultants for us. There are people that we highly look up to, whatever you want to word that. But in one sense, they are influencing us. And after all, that's truly what leadership is. Just to make sure we're on the same definition of leadership. Leadership is influencing others, nothing more, nothing less. We assume, or I should say, I assume, that you want to be a positive leader, that you want to influence others to be better than they are, better than they think they can be, to grow, to become successful in whatever they are doing, and ultimately become significant in their lives, in their professional lives, with their family, with their friends, wherever they're at. I believe this works for not just, for-profit businesses and individuals in the business world, but I also believe it works for teams. I think it works for businesses overall, and it also works in the nonprofit area. So if you are a pastor, if you are in a faith community, you work in a nonprofit or with a nonprofit, you work for, or you run a nonprofit, whatever. I still think success can be measured. It's something that we strive for, and I think significance can even go beyond that for you as well. So let's talk about leadership, the law of respect, and the idea that we follow people stronger than ourselves. If you think about that for a second, it may sound funny, but we do follow people stronger than ourselves. We don't follow people by accident. We don't follow people by accident. We make a decision. It's something that we hopefully have seriously thought through, but it's something that we do intentionally. We follow leadership people. We follow people that we respect. If you don't respect someone, you're not going to follow them. I had an instance in a nonprofit where I had lost respect for the leader, and I had a choice to make. Do I still try to follow them, or do I step back and look and reevaluate and decide if I need to follow someone else or do something else? And I ultimately chose to step back and do and follow someone else. It's not an easy decision to make, especially when people that we respect feels like they let us down. They're human, so they're going to do that, and that's where the element of forgiveness and grace comes in. And I am a person of faith, and so grace and forgiveness is something that's very important for me. But let me ask you this question. You follow people that you respect. So who respects you? Who follows you? That may be a very uncomfortable question, and I think it should be an uncomfortable question, because it forces us to face the reality that we need to gain and garner respect from people that we lead. Leadership is not based on a title. You may have a title. You may be CFO or CEO, manager, boss, owner, executive director, vice president, whatever you want to call yourself, or whatever position that you're in. And those are important positions to have, and you can tell people what to do, but leadership encourages your followers, the people that report to you. Leadership encourages others to follow you because they want to follow you, not because they have to follow you. And that's a whole different ballgame altogether. Are you being followed because people respect you, or because they fear you, or because they have to? Respect also comes from a certain level. Earlier in our blab sessions, and you can go back into the replays and see it, the first one below your top or below your lid, where we talk about how you need to become a stronger leader, and you need to raise yourself if you want to raise others. That as a leader, if you're, let's say, at a 6, your people will never get above a 5 because, well, you're still at a 6 and you're still exploring and learning that and developing that. And they're not going to be able to move there until you get to another level, and then they can move up. You especially, let's say you're at a 6, you especially will not have anybody go to a 7 or an 8 above you, because how can you coach them up if you're not been there yourself? Either currently there or have been there in the past. So what is your leadership level? If you feel like your leadership level is high, but everybody following you is very, very low, I would question your leadership level. I would say you're not as high as you think you are. So who's following you? And those who are following you, how far along are they in following you? Here's the test to know who follows you, and here's the test to know what your leadership level is. How would your employees, your friends, your family members, people that you train, people that you coach, how would they change something they were doing if you asked them to as their coach or leader? Just ask them. Not commanded it, not demanded it. Just ask them. Would you do this? Would you change this action or this behavior? Please. If you can't think of anyone that would do that, then you're not being an effective leader. And you're not leading through respect. You're leading some other way if you do have followers. It's a very hard thing to face. But that's okay. That's okay. Because you can learn to be a leader who has respect to people. You can learn to earn that respect. And there are some ways to do that. Here's 4 quick ones for you. Number 1, do you respect others? Is there someone that you respect? Is there someone that you follow because of your respect for them, or do you follow them because they're your boss or they're your boss's boss, or how high up the chain you want to go with that? Do you respect people that work for you and with you, your peers, your reports, the people you coach, the people you train? Do you respect them, or do you boss them? A strong parallel with that is the value of others. Do you value other people as they are, not as you wish they were? Do you value people for what they are and what they can be, not for what they can do for you, or for the business, or for the institution that you're a part of? Do you know your people? Too many bosses, too many people do not know their people. They don't value their people. They're clogs in a machine. And that's really what a manager is. A manager manages the process and the systems and makes the people tie into that. But a leader leads the people by using the process and the systems as part of what they do. Totally different ballgame. So do you respect others, and do you value others? And then the third thing right along that line, do you build others up, or are you afraid to do so? More coffee. Do you build others up? Excuse me. Are people better off because they work with you, alongside you? Do people learn? Do people grow? Are you not afraid to lift others up and give them opportunities to expand their knowledge and their skill sets and their vision of themselves and what they can be? Or are you worried that they'll take your job? A true leader builds others up so that they can be replaced. If you think you're indispensable, you're not. Even if you have your own business, that business could go under and somebody somewhere will step in and fill that void. I am not the only coach and trainer and public speaker in my neck of the woods, much less in the world. There are people around me and people that I know and people that I watch and listen and observe who are better than me. I am not irreplaceable. However, I can make people I work with irreplaceable in their lives. I can build them up. I can lift them up. Hi, Amika. Glad that you're able to join. So, to earn the respect of people that you want to influence, that you want to lead, You have to respect others. You have to value others. You have to build them up. And then do you seek the needs and hopes and desires of someone else first? That to me is truly significance. I'm not asking to meet your needs, your hopes, your desires, or the companies or the institutions, the nonprofit, the profit, whatever you're involved in. I'm asking, do you seek the needs and the hopes and the desires of others first? And do you strive to have your people, the people that you can lead or do lead, to meet their hopes and desires and needs before yours? Do you see a pattern here? You see something going on here consistently? That pattern is, if you want respect, you must give respect. That's very hard to do. We are selfish people. We do look at ourselves first. It is easy for us to say, what is it that I need? And what is it that I desire? And what is it that I hope? And how do I get that accomplished? And people then become less valuable. They become cogs in a wheel that turn for our benefit. A true leader, a healthy leader, a leader that desires not just success, but significance in their lives, must focus on others and respect others first before they get the respect of themselves. What do you think of this? It's not a long lesson. It's a very simple lesson, really. But it's a very important lesson. Very seldom, and let's go back a little bit to the leadership process. Very seldom do you see a leader who's at, let's say, a 6 or 7 out of scale of 1 to 10, and I'm just throwing out numbers here, follow someone who's below them. Very, very rarely. In fact, I want you to think about the last time you went into a meeting for the first time. Mostly your peers, okay? Or you're in a meeting of all the bosses a level above you. What happens at the beginning of that meeting? What dynamic occurs in that small group? I want you to think about that for a second. You hear the phrase, there's this feeling out process. You hear the phrase, everybody's just kind of finding their space and, their role and that type of thing. In reality, what's going on there is a leadership decision being made. People are finding out, especially leaders, people who think they are leaders or really are leaders, are finding out who's the leader to follow. In fact, one of the ways to shortchange that process and create an unhealthy team environment, so to speak, is to force a leadership position on someone who's truly not the leader of the group. Someone who may have the title but doesn't have the respect or even the leadership ability to lead in a healthy way. So if you have a group of 3, 4, 5, 6, 7s, 8s in a leadership skill set in there, ultimately that 8 is going to become the leader. If they're not allowed to become the leader, if the others block that, then that 8 will eventually either back off or not even participate in the group. Now, we're not talking about someone with an ego, because we all know people who think they're a leader and nobody wants to follow, nobody respects them as a person, nobody really respects them as a business person or a professional or even as an individual, and they think because of a title or a degree or something along that line that they are automatically a leader, and so they demand leadership and they demand that role and they expect people to follow. We all know people like that, and we've all experienced that. Frankly, sometimes I've been that, and that's wrong. And we're not talking about people like that who, if they don't get their way, go away and pout. As you know, as the old saying goes, take their own ball and go home. We're not talking about that. We're talking about peers, people who are put together as a team, and they start sorting out who's really the leader. And people who are used to being leaders will step up right away, but eventually you'll see someone step out in the forefront and kind of take the team and help the team move forward. And I would submit to you, and it's still good coffee, by the way, and I would submit to you that that leader uses phrases like, here's what we should do, and I think these would be good next steps for us to do. These would be great things, and you find them speaking about the team and a we situation of that team. And that's what makes them a good leader. They respect the team, and they respect the individuals within that team. They value the energy and the effort that the team members will put in and can put in. They value and build up the people. So you'll find them giving, for lack of better words, assignments to people and let them take the lead. They don't have to always be up front. They may be up front just because of the situation, but they don't have to be up front. They can allow others to do presentations. They can allow others to present ideas and put together structure. They can encourage others to step beyond what they're comfortable with. To me, a good leader, especially when you see it in a small group or in a team situation, will encourage someone to step up. You can do this. You can be this way. You can handle this. They respect them. They value them. And they take the opportunity as the leader to build them up. Sometimes building up someone means pushing them outside of their comfort zone. I think of someone I know who does not like to be in the public situation. She would rather work behind the scenes quietly. Fantastic organizer, a fantastic planner and follow-through person. And yet, she has a story to tell. A story that has impacted every single person who's heard it. She's not comfortable giving that story. She's not comfortable standing in front of people sharing that story. But she knows when the opportunity is right and the time is right, she needs to do that. And that's something that she's still learning. Her leader encourages that in her. And that could be anybody. But in this situation, the person says, I know you're not the upfront person, but you do it very well. Keep going. So to earn the respect of others and to lead them, even in areas that they're uncomfortable, they have to know that you respect them, that you value them, that you're there to build them up, that you're there to help them meet their needs, express and meet their hopes, to experience their desires to be successful before your own. In some ways, that's a very contradictory thought and process. It sounds almost counterintuitive of what a leader is, but the foundation of leadership, the rock solid, this is it. Trust and respect. Last week we talked about trust. If you don't have trust, you can't be a leader. You can't influence others in a positive way. All you can do is boss them, threaten them, scare them, command them. But that's not leadership. Trust and respect them. Let them know you respect them and value them and you desire the best for them. Let them know you desire them to be built up. And if there are reports to you, let them know that your goal one day is either to have them take your job or move up in a position outside of maybe the silo that they're in. Now, why is that not scary? Because hopefully you're wanting to move up as well. And if you move up, who's going to move in behind you? Because nature will not allow a vacuum to occur. Nature will not allow a vacuum to occur. So if your desire is to move up and grow, if your desire is to become successful and meet your dreams and hopes and desires, if those are your desires, then who's going to follow along behind you as you do that? You've got to be intentional. Look at it this way. Let's say you're a coach of a sports team, and your desire is someday to be the owner of that team. Well, there's not too many people that can own and coach at the same time because they're both very different jobs and yet very full-time. So if you desire to own the team, then my question to you is, who's going to be your coach? A good leader, a successful leader, will develop their coach from within. I believe a company or an institution that has to hire from the outside, except in certain circumstances, maybe rare circumstances, but if they have to hire from the outside a replacement, then they're obviously not developing their team underneath them. I would hope if you have people that report to you, that as you move up, whether it's in the corporate ladder or in the success ladder, however you want to look at it, the significance ladder, that you're able to say, this person can do my job as if not as well, better than me. And how could they do that? Is because you trained them. You valued them. You respected them. You built them up. You prepared them for the next step. You weren't scared of them. You didn't run away from them. Like I said, do you see a pattern here? The pattern is, you want respect, you need to give respect. Sadly, some people demand respect, and even if you give them respect, they may never respect you back. That's life. That's reality. Earlier, I mentioned a nonprofit situation that I was in where I lost respect for the leadership, and it was painfully obvious they had lost respect for me. And I had to make some choices. It's not easy, realizing that the foundation for what you're trying to do is gone because of the lack of respect, my lack of trust and respect in the leader, and obviously the lack of respect and trust in the leader and me. Sometimes that just happens. That's because we're not perfect. If you find a perfect institution, once you join it, it's no longer perfect. You know? If it was easy to earn and gain respect, everybody would do it, but it's not. People in leadership areas and a lot of different businesses and industries and institutions profit and nonprofit, struggle with this idea of succession and leadership. Just like we've talked about before, where to develop your leadership, you have to take time and effort and energy to grow yourself. For your people, you have to do the same thing. The people that you desire to lead and that you may be leading won't grow themselves on their own. You have to be intentional to help them. Sometimes that means coaching. Sometimes that means just an encouraging word. That may mean providing them opportunities to learn, providing them educational opportunities or experiential opportunities where they can expand themselves and grow and become more than they think they are and can be. You have to respect them. You have to value them. And you have to build them up. It's not easy. But in the long run, that process is very, very, very strong. So to gain respect in leadership requires you to give respect in leadership. To gain the value of others and have them value you, you have to value them. To be built up by other people, you have to build others up. If you want to meet your needs and hopes and desires, then you have to meet the needs and hopes and desires of others first. I'm a member of a networking organization. Meet weekly, about 30 of us, 30 to 40, with other members of the networking organization. It's a worldwide organization. They have a phrase that they say throughout at the beginning of the meeting and in the concept throughout, which is givers gain. Givers gain. If you give to others, the belief is that they will eventually start giving back to you. I have a client that's in one of my masterminds, and he made a beautiful example about this. And I'd like to close with this for you, this image and this thought. In the Western world, when we ask for something, we usually give out a hand. It's called a handout. When we ask for help or we ask for gifts, when we ask for something from other people, we usually do it with a hand out. However, he grew up in Africa, son of a missionary. And in the culture that he grew up in, when you give to someone, they receive it with both hands out like this. And he made this statement. He said, "You are very vulnerable when both hands are in this position." And I would encourage you to think about it this way. Instead of having both hands like this to receive, I hope you have both hands out to give. Not just one hand conditional, but both hands vulnerable. People will let you down. People will disappoint you. However, if you truly desire to be a successful leader and a significant leader, if you desire to experience that success and significance in your life, whether it's personal or professional, within the institution, whatever you're talking about, then you have to become vulnerable to lift others up, to build them, to value them, to respect them. So, again, in closing, you have to have the respect of people to be a leader. If you don't have the respect of people, if people don't follow you of their own volition, based on who you are, just because you ask them, but have to be demanded, have to be cajoled, have to be pushed into obedience, then you're not a leader, you're a boss and a manager. And you don't have the respect of the people around you. So your homework assignment that I like to give. Your homework assignment is twofold this week. Number one, who do you influence or lead, and what is your leadership level? And along with that, 1B would be, would whoever you are leading change because you just asked them to and said please, not because you commanded it or demanded it? And number two, to me, this is the real key one. Do you respect others? Do you build them, value them, trust them? Do you respect them? If not, start. It won't be easy, otherwise you've been doing it by now. But be vulnerable. Help others with both hands out, not one conditionally. Thank you so much. I hope you feel free to email me to follow up with this. Again, my name is Richard Talbot. You can email me at richard@richardtalbot.net. I'm on Twitter. I'm on Facebook. If you'd like to like my business page, you'll receive something daily from me. Some little pithy saying or thought, picture, something that hopefully make you think, smile, chuckle, be challenged. I'm on LinkedIn. Obviously, I'm on Blab. You take care of yourself. You have yourself a good weekend, week, whatever's up ahead of you. And know that you can earn and gain respect as a leader if you respect others. Again, thank you for watching this blab. My name is Richard Talbot, where your success and significance is my business.